Welcome to DAO Talk Interviews, a weekly podcast series that sits down with the IRL voices behind the online usernames of the leaders in the budding DAO ecosystem. Each week, we'll dive deep with an individual or individuals on what they're working on, what brought them into the DAO space, and so much more. Hosted by me, Tommy, and sometimes my friends, Frisian, Cool Horse Girl, Caden, and Ellie. Each episode is brought to you and powered by Tally.xyz, the home of DAO governance. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of DAO Talk Interviews. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DAO Talk. This week we are previewing MultiGov and MultiGov Day. I'm joined by Nikhil and Katya from Wormhole. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Katya, how are you?
Feeling good. Excited to be on this podcast. It's my favorite podcast with my favorite podcast hosts.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you for a second, but thank you. I appreciate it. Let's dive into a little bit about who you guys are, what you do, and then we can talk about MultiGov, like why we're here. So Katya, who are you? What do you do? Why should people know who you are?
I'm Katya. I lead. How far down do we need to go? I'm Katya. I lead strategic growth at the Wormhole Foundation. I've been working in the crypto space for several years now. Started my career working at Maple Finance, and then spent some time working at Polygon and at Aave, mostly focusing on DeFi strategy. Now I work at the Wormhole Foundation, focusing on network expansion and helping teams achieve their visions of building omni-chain products.
I love it.
Nikhil.
Yeah, Nikhil.
Yeah, so I'm Nikhil. I lead product at the Wormhole Foundation, and what I'm working on is pushing forward various product and technical initiatives across the Wormhole contributor set, and I've been working on Wormhole now for almost 2 years. Before the foundation, I was working on Wormhole as part of Jump Crypto. And at Jump Crypto, I was working on various projects. Jump Crypto had a lot of really exciting crypto projects that were incubated during the time I was there. And I first got into crypto in 2017 during the whole first 2017 bull market. Bought crypto kitties, lost a lot of money, tried to figure out how to breed the crypto kitties to get the right traits and everything like that. But that was my first interaction with crypto.
Katya, what was your first interaction with crypto?
It was actually much more wholesome. It was Sid and Joe, for the founders of Maple. We're like, if you're working with us, please buy some Bitcoin and try all of these different DeFi protocols. So my first interactions were like taking out a $50 loan on Aave. I paid a lot of gas for it, but it was like a good experience just to get familiar with the products.
Love it. I love it. All right, let's talk about an exciting project. Nikhil said he mentioned exciting products, and I think it's a good segue into MultiGov. So let's talk a little bit about MultiGov. I feel like we've been talking about it for months. Raf gave his talk at ETH Denver back in February. It's kind of been in, incubation and development since then. But Nikhil, like if you could describe MultiGov I know it's not an easy subject to bring down into a few sentences, but for people who, maybe have zero understanding of what MultiGov is or even what Wormhole is, break it down.
Yeah. MultiGov is a multi-chain governance system. That's just the tagline, as you might have guessed from the name. But MultiGov is a governance system that builds upon existing governance systems that are in wide use today. So think the Open Zeppelin governor that a lot of existing DAOs use today. MultiGov builds on top of that and extends the Open Zeppelin governor system that a lot of protocols use to allow token holders to vote from any chain that they might be holding tokens on, for them to generally participate in governance by creating proposals from any chain, voting on those proposals from any chain, and then proposal execution happens on every single chain that the governance system is live on. So that's kind of the high level of how you can think about MultiGov.
Why is something like MultiGov so important for, like these governor DAOs and these communities? Like what are the biggest value adds for like what MultiGov achieves?
Yeah, definitely. So I can start and then maybe Katya can jump in as well. But um, I think that we're seeing more and more protocols go multi-chain. And more going multi-chain is just more important generally. Protocols realize the value in expanding to multiple chains. You know, you launch on one chain and then you can expand to access to scale to the entire crypto ecosystem, access the entire ecosystem of users, of protocols, of liquidity, and ultimately grow your project. And so we're seeing a lot of protocols themselves expand multi-chain, and they're expanding their governance tokens multi-chain and whatever other tokens that might be associated with their protocols multi-chain. Um, and then a natural sort of second order effect of expanding your protocol multi-chain and sending your tokens to different chains is that now your token holders are spread out across a lot of different chains. And typically governance happens, or traditionally governance has happened on just a single chain. And um, this makes governance a little bit more difficult. You might find it more difficult to hit those quorum requirements. You might find it more difficult to get high participation of votes because fewer token holders are on that single home chain that you originally launched your token on and that your governance system might exist on. And so this is where MultiGov comes in, where it's a really nice complement to just protocols going multi-chain generally, which is that you can vote on any chain now that you hold tokens on. And so your governance participation can stay high um, while you scale to multiple chains. But that's my spiel. I'll let Katya jump in as well if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I'll take a stab on it. I think in recent years, with like the rise of all of these new app chains and all of these new tech stacks for L2s, and all these new VMs and whatnot, alt L1s, there's been like a change in what it means for a protocol to be multi-chain. Before it used to be like siloed deployments of the same protocol on all of these different networks. That doesn't really scale or fly as much today. I mean, we're seeing a lot of like exciting new protocols being built with wormhole messaging for other applications like crushing lending or crushing swaps. And that's just to help like the end user avoid being stressed out and trying to figure out which network they need to exist on. So as we start to move towards this, like away from multi-chain towards more omni-chain protocols, it's really important for protocols to be able to have their governance extend that same way. You know, it's no longer about like forcing your token holders to maintain their portfolios on one network. Now they can go wherever they want to be, and MultiGov just kind of unlocks that big blocker that's always kind of been the standard in the industry. So it's all about making governance more inclusive. It's about making it more active, and it continues to help teams further decentralize their protocols.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this podcast for like 2.5 years at this point, and I remember like early on in the days, like Frisian, and you can even like see it on his Twitter, like being like very, very just pro Ethereum and just that's it, and nothing else really matters. That kind of like was reflected with like Governor, and then like slowly over the past couple of years, you've kind of seen that. And I think Frisian's kind of like a good indicator of the governance ecosystem as a whole, like moving away from just one chain, like you said, onto like multi-chain and then into omni-chain. And really like at its core is making governance accessible, making, or not making, but helping participation become as easy as possible. And I think this is like a major step in the right direction. Let's talk about a little bit about Wormhole DAO, because Wormhole DAO is, going to be the first DAO that actually uses MultiGov. I don't know who's the best person to ask this question, but tell us a little bit about Wormhole DAO. What are its goals? What's the status of Wormhole DAO, and why are you guys excited to be using multi-chain? And like, which came first, the DAO or the idea for MultiGov? Or is it kind of, built in tandem?
So Wormhole DAO is going to be launching with MultiGov in the very near future, near TM. Dates are to be confirmed and like communicated with the W token holders soon. The objective of the Wormhole DAO is to decentralize the governance of the Wormhole protocol. Protocol itself has been around for many, many years. I think we just hit our 3-year anniversary recently. And to some extent, the DAO is already in some semblance of existence today, given the Wormhole contributor set that we have. So there's already a number of independent entities that are working on, the protocol itself and all of its future iterations. And we're excited to continue to build with the community, and further add transparency into decision making, and have token holders have vocalize their visions for the protocol. So I don't know which one came first. I feel like these discussions happen in tandem. I think there was almost like always an inevitability that there would be a Wormhole DAO, but we haven't seen any like truly productized multi-chain governance solutions that really served our needs, especially in, being originally built as a bridge between Solana and Ethereum. There wasn't anything that would be able to help us connect our two communities. So it made sense to loop in governance experts, Tally and Scopelift to help build this thing. Obviously, we could, try our hand at doing it ourselves, but there's so many nuances with like governance systems and so many things that like we just, really leaned on Tally and Scopelift for their insights on.
Yeah, I agree with Katya, and the thing I would add is maybe the history, as I will tell it, is that it definitely happened in tandem. We began thinking about how we would start decentralizing the Wormhole protocol a while ago. And while going through that exploration of how do we construct a governance system, Wormhole is a multi-chain protocol, Wormhole is an interoperability protocol. We fundamentally will have token holders spread out across different chains. We ourselves need a governance system. And that was the original impetus for MultiGov. Was to build it ourselves. And we actually dog food a lot of products that we build. Native token transfers is another product we built that the W token uses native token transfers to be a natively multi-chain token. And so we dog food a lot of our own products because we are a protocol as well that's just multi-chain. So we are our own user. And as we began to explore the design of how to build a multi-chain governance system, as we began to look into the teams that are experts in governance, Tally, Scopelift were at the top of that list, obviously. As we began to just explore the problem more and more and think more deeply about the problem, we realized that this is a problem that is more widely applicable than just the Wormhole DAO. A lot of other protocols can benefit from having a multi-chain governance system. And as we had design conversations with Scopelift and Tally back in the early days, we decided to make it, based off of our experience, based off of their experience. At Tally and Scopelift have so much experience talking to teams that are implementing governance systems and understanding what their future sort of goals are for those governance systems. And as a result of a lot of those early conversations, we decided to make an explicit design goal to be able to enable existing protocols with existing, governors that are deployed on a single chain, existing single chain governance systems. We decided to make a design goal for those protocols to be able to use MultiGov to expand multi-chain. And that has therefore influenced a significant portion of the design for MultiGov. So TLDR is it started with us, and we realized the problem was way bigger, as often is the case, and we decided to build it for a much bigger market.
Yeah, I love it. It kind of reminds me, and I think it probably makes sense that it does that. Kind of like Governor in the beginning, right? It's Compound builds it. It's built for their specific use case, but quickly after that, you realize kind of everyone has that same specific use case, and it gets widely adopted and kind of turns into a public good. So I think we all agree, like we're kind of hoping that happens, and I think it will happen in the same way with MultiGov, right? Like you guys pioneer it, we build it, you showed how to use it and how successful it can be with, a multi-chain native DAO like Wormhole DAO. And then, other people see, what use cases it can solve for them, and then they adopt it and build it, and it expands and grows from there. So super excited about that. I'm excited to build this out with you guys and see where it goes. We have a lot more like technical, this is like a very high level overview, but we'll link like Raf's talk, who's our CTO. And we have some documentation from like Wormhole side and our side that we'll link in the show notes as well. And we'll have more coming out soon, but on more coming out soon next week, MultiGov Day, big MultiGov Day. If you didn't get hype enough from that little intro into what it is, but let's dive a little bit into, what MultiGov Day is. Katya, you pitched it to me first, so I want to hear, whose idea it was, what's happening next week. If you're listening to this will come out, I think, on the 6th or 7th of September, and MultiGov Day is happening next week, so there's still time to come if you're in New York. But what is it? Why should people be excited about it? And if they can't attend, what can they still be excited about?
Yeah, the idea for MultiGov Day came about at one of the events that we had co-hosted in Brussels. Basically, everybody that we were talking to is based in New York, so we figured we might as well have an event hosted in New York, where we could have governance minds meet and hang out and share a drink and some food. The objective of the event is to just bring together some governance folks. Anybody who's actively thinking about governance, who's active in governance, anybody who's interested in using the MultiGov system for their own DAOs is welcome to join us. It's more of a casual opportunity to meet other people who are thinking about the cutting edge of like on-chain governance. We'll have some Wormhole delegates already in attendance. You'll be able to meet the Scopelift and Tally teams. We're kind of teasing the upcoming launch of MultiGov. The contracts are, currently in audit, and we're hoping to have a nice opportunity to put some faces to the usernames.
Yeah, I'm super pumped about it. Super pumped about it. We'll have a lot of like really good activation and some content coming out of that as well. And like you said, it is kind of like building that momentum for the launch, which is coming in the near future, near TM, as you said. Super excited about it.
Yeah, it should be fun. We've got some good snacks. We've got some sick merch. We'll be unveiling the branding for MultiGov, which is a really exciting time. It's been a long time coming, and now people can actually see, something that relates to the brand. Well, it is trademarked. Maybe we don't add that in, but trademark pending.
Trademark pending.
Anybody ever?
For sure. Any closing thoughts, you guys? Like, I'm super excited about like working on this project with y'all has been incredible, and the entire Tally team echoes that. I've been mainly doing it for like the branding and planning side, but seeing the team build it and kind of watching this kind of be like a slow burn up until when the launch is coming up pretty soon. Super excited. You guys have any closing thoughts on MultiGov, Wormhole Foundation, Wormhole DAO, anything you want the people to know about before MultiGov Day next week?
I'll add a couple things just on the product and technical side. I think we're really excited to have, docs out soon for MultiGov. We want to start to give people a taste of what the architecture for MultiGov looks like, what's involved, what the changes on top of the Open Zeppelin governor contracts are. We're excited to open source the repository soon. And so all of that is going to be coming very, very soon. And we're really excited to release all that and hopefully talk about a lot of it at MultiGov Day. And then another thing is that, there's MultiGov is just kind of a start. Like the Open Zeppelin governance system, it's built on top of the governor. It's a pretty straightforward, simple governance system that works across multiple chains. And that itself is a huge, I think, and novel thing to build. That's going to make a huge impact on the space and help push the space forward, which we're really excited for. But it's also just a start. There are so many ways. There's so many different kinds of governance models that projects can build. There's so many different kinds of voting models that projects can use. There are a lot of different ways that you can actually configure MultiGov dependent on kind of how you want to parameterize your governance system. And so what I'm really excited for is to first off, see how other projects that use MultiGov will configure their systems, how those systems end up working, and how those systems end up helping those projects scale and increase governance participation. But also, I'm really excited to see what people kind of innovate on top of MultiGov. I'm excited to see new kinds of features on MultiGov, new kinds of token voting models, new kinds of governance systems that are built with the same kind of foundation and system in mind. So that's one thing I'm really excited for is this is just the start of multi-chain governance. And there's so much room to go, so much room to build on top of from here.
I love it. It's just the beginning. Just the beginning, baby. Yeah, I'm super excited for next week. Just to, like, get everyone in the same room and, like, you know, talk and jam and really, like, get a sense of, like, real excitement for everything and what's coming down the pipeline. So I'm excited about it. Cool, guys. Katya?
I mean, even in setting our roadmap, like a lot of the conversations we're having now with devs who are looking to adopt MultiGov, we're learning a lot about what features and functionality they want to add to their DAOs, right? And so that's helping us continue to inform the MultiGov roadmap and allows us to make sure that the products that we build are needed and wanted by DAO builders. So that's been really, really cool to see, is just how much of a community effort it's been. And then, yeah, I have nothing else to add. Just that decentralization is super important. And making it, like, governance as decentralized and accessible as possible is going to continue to be more and more important. So bullish on MultiGov.
Yeah, and obligatory follow up on what Katya said. If you listen to this podcast and you run a DAO or you're a builder and you're interested in MultiGov, reach out to us. Reach out to me or Katya on Twitter or Telegram. I'm sure we can throw our handles in, but it's just my first and last name. And I think it's just Katya's first and last name, K-Turn.
It's not.
We'll put it in the show notes. Don't worry.
We'll put them in the
Don't worry. Yeah, I was going to ask you guys
my DMs are open.
Yeah, DMs are open. And if you watch this podcast and there are features you want to see in a multi-chain governance system, do leave a comment or reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge part of all of this, I think, is, like you said, we build in tandem with the community, like just like this partnership, Wormhole, Scope, Lift, Tally. And then I think you guys build this way in the same way we build. We take our feedback from our users and from the DAOs that we support very seriously, because we would be lost in terms of, like, building a product that people actually want and need. So definitely reach out, like, seriously, I empower you guys to reach out, whether it be to me or Katya or Nikhil or anyone from the Wormhole or Tally team. We'd love to help you guys. So reach out. We'll put it in the show notes. But you guys, thank you so much for coming on the pod. Short and sweet. We'll have more content coming out next week around MultiGov Day and on MultiGov launch in the future. Thanks for joining. See you guys soon.